All right, good evening, everyone. I want to begin by just thanking you for having me here tonight and to share my story with you. Like many of you, wear many hats. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a teacher, and a survivor, but in a different way than a lot of you here tonight. I typically get to know people a little bit more before I start crying in front of them, so I apologize in advance for any tears that happen up here. But one thing I've learned quickly about the cancer community is that it also quickly becomes your family. When I think about cancer, a rush of emotions comes through my mind. I knew many people who had been diagnosed in my lifetime, my grandparents, and people that I worked with, but on May 12th, 2016, it hit closer to home than I honestly could have ever imagined. I remember it vividly. It was a Thursday morning, and our son Wyatt, who's over here, our little warrior, was acting just a little bit off, and after noticing a slight bulge in his abdomen, we were like, well, you know, probably worst case it's appendicitis, and honestly, as many of you probably are parents, thought he was maybe just constipated and maybe a little bit backed up. And so my husband decided to take him to the emergency room just to make sure, and the doctor ran some tests. And then the doctor ran some more tests. And if we only knew what we knew now, we would have known to look for the eyes of the x-ray tech or the extra tests being ordered. But we were still living BC before cancer. After the tests had been run, the doctor came into the room with my husband and told him he needed to sit down. It was shortly after, it was 12:05, that I got the call in the cafeteria with all my 4th and 5th graders eating lunch that our son did not have appendicitis, that he had a volleyball-sized tumor in his abdomen. I quickly walked out of the cafeteria because my students did not need to see their teacher sobbing or about to pass out. But it was in that moment that the first, what I like to call cancer compassion moment happened. The office I happened to walk into was one of our school psychologists, and she happened to be in there hearing this whole conversation, and she looked at me and she said, "You will get through this. Can I drive you to the hospital?" And it was so simple, and I honestly didn't even think about it at the time until months later when I came out of the fog. But it was that small gesture right then and there that just started this chain of events of cancer compassion. When I was on the phone with my husband, we sat there, we stopped for a minute, we prayed, we asked for healing, we asked for answers, and we asked for me to drive safely down to the hospital. After running home and grabbing a bag, because we had no idea what to expect at this point, I walked into the hospital room, and my sweet boy, my little Wyatt, was hooked up to IVs, and he had tears on his cheeks. And I remember walking in and sitting next to him and giving him the biggest smile I could ever give. I'm talking an Academy Award-winning, Oscar-worthy moment here. Julia Roberts would have been proud of me. But I knew in that moment he needed me to be strong, even though on the inside my heart was breaking for him. Once again, the doctor came in to tell us some more information. This is the first time I had met him. And I think part of me at that point had still put up this front of everything is fine, it's just, you know, this mass that they're gonna remove. The word cancer still hadn't entered my mind. And he looked at us after we asked him, is this serious? And he said, it's very serious, and you're gonna be here for a while. And he went over a little bit more information with us and got up and walked out. And I looked at my husband and I looked at my son and I said, I need to go to the bathroom real quick. And I don't think I made it past the little curtain of that emergency room before I just fell apart. And that was quickly when the second cancer compassion moment happened. I was trying to get to a bathroom so that people weren't watching me in this moment. And this gentleman was in front of me, and he could see that I was barely hanging on by a thread at this point. And he just walked out, he just moved out of the line so I could go in next. And again, it was just that simple thing. He didn't know my story. He didn't know what had just happened, but he was compassionate. And those little moments made such a difference on that horrific day. Things happened very quickly, but at the same time, it almost felt like an eternity over the next 4 hours. We were from room to room and more scans, and we finally entered the pediatric oncology floor. No, if you'd asked me the first time that I held my son, would I ever be on a pediatric oncology floor, the answer would have been no, because that's not something parents think about. But that is where we were. And to those of you who work in the medical field, I just want you to know how much you mean to your patients, truly. It was so fast, and they were so thorough with their information, and so warm about it, and so optimistic. It really just shifted our mindset at that point. They told us a lot of information, but they did it in a very gentle manner. And it just as quickly and as loud as it all was, it got very quiet very fast. My husband had to leave to go home to our daughter. And I was there with Wyatt that night, just me and him in the hospital room, trying to really keep out that anxiety and fear that just crept into every part of my being. There was a lot of prayers said, and there was a lot of just pleads to God for complete healing for my son. To those of you who are caretakers, which we got to hear a little bit about already, it's those waiting and quiet moments that sometimes are the hardest, I think, when you let your mind go places that you shouldn't. I think caretakers are, a lot of times, those unsung heroes of cancer. Because when everything's falling apart, you feel like you have to keep it together for everyone around you. But hope is always at the forefront. The next morning, after a 5-hour surgery, the surgeon came out and told us that he got the entire tumor. And it was the first time, we can clap, that's great news. That was the first time I felt like I truly had exhaled in about 24 hours. And although it was a success, we still had to do radiation and chemotherapy for 6 months. And I'm not sure if this is true for anyone sitting here tonight, but for some reason, I don't know if it was just me as the mom or what, but the thought of that first round of chemo just caused me more anxiety and tears, I think, because there were days leading up to it, so I knew it was coming. There's something that's so odd about knowing that you're giving your son this, in all sense of the word, poison. He received doxorubicin, the red devil, and I knew that was something we had to do as parents. It was something that was going to keep him alive. It was also going to harm him in certain ways. He was going to be bald. He was a very cute bald kid. But it was just challenging to just watch that happen, to see them access him, and for that to know that that was happening. To all of you who are fighting and surviving tonight, you really are the reason we're here. And it's your bravery and strength that get many of us, especially caretakers, through, because it's your strength that keeps us going. The next 6 months were a challenge, but they were also a beautiful demonstration of being part of a cancer community. Our church stepped up in amazing ways. My school faculty stepped up in amazing ways. I can't honestly even begin to list the ways, and I know we went to dinner, so I won't do all that. But I had the opportunity to meet cancer moms who showed me the ropes, taught me about ANCs and blood counts, things I had never heard before. I met warriors who visited the oncology floor to bring us food, and friends who would step up and bring us dinner on a moment's notice. I went to children's funerals, and I hugged moms whose worlds had been shattered, but they still had hope. Cancer can take a lot away from a person, but it can't take hope. It cannot take community, and it can't take the memories. We made a lot of memories during Wyatt's treatment. One of my favorites was him blow drying his bald head, because why not, right? It was a very quick process, drying that head. His sister Shaylin and he became very close. She had to grow up very quickly as a sibling caregiver, and she watched her brother get accessed. She heard him cry. She held his hand. She loved him. I will be honest, I wish I had recorded this a few times to remind myself of those moments. But she learned very quickly how to be selfless, how to show empathy. And those are characteristics I still see in my beautiful 8-year-old daughter today. On November 26th, the week of Thanksgiving, we got our peak. Wyatt finally finished his last treatment, and his scans showed that he was NED. His body was cancer-free at that moment. Although our family, in that moment, why it was cancer-free, our family will never be cancer-free, and that it's always going to be part of our story, just like all of you here tonight. Cancer made us stronger. It showed us that you don't have to know someone directly to positively impact their life. And it gave us opportunities to show other families cancer compassion. Although I'm still a nervous wreck leading up to why it scans, I cling to hope, I cling to community, and I cling to the memories, both before and after cancer. Wherever you are in your journey, know that this community right here is sitting here and cheering for you. We are full of hope. Thank you for allowing me to share my story tonight.